Hello, my name is Matthew Maher. I'm a first-year graduate student here with the Meadows School of the Arts, and I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in today. We're going to discuss my mixed media work and its development over this past year. I'm going to identify some common themes and provide some contextual insight into what and how I do what I do and why I do it. So join me inside my mind. Don't worry, there's plenty of room in here for everybody. If I'm going to talk about context, we need to briefly visit my personal history. One event in particular acutely summarizes my fascination with the dramatic arts and my proclivity towards subversion and satire. In the 7th grade, we were given aptitude tests. The results of my test were remarkable. The top 3 vocations I might enjoy were priest, politician, or actor. What a revelation! Thanks to the Florida public school system, I was introduced to my first subversive concept, that priests and politicians are actors. And of these 3 endeavors, an actor is, ironically, the most honest. Priests, politicians, and actors are very similar deceivers. Each one plays pretend for a living. The actor is the only one of the 3 that admits they're making it up as they go. This critical take on authority and how we endow credibility, as well as the connection of that phenomenon to performance and presentation, will be a reoccurring theme. In terms of layering reality, changing personas is the most readily available. All that is required is my mind and body. For example, my part in Makeup Chair, I played Tawny Getsum, an alter ego amalgamation of Dolly Parton in Steel Magnolias. She's an almost actress and probably a really cool aunt.
You know, they'll bring it up being Frankenstein and all that, and I think they already knew they wanted to make a sequel. Stallone seems like a money guy. He really does.
The script, the set, the direction, the costuming, they were all provided. My contribution was my imagination and physicality. That's the sweet spot, when your imagination gets some air.
Men! Men, goddammit! Men that fought and died for the country!
Indeed, in all of my work, I'm using dramatic technique to subvert reality and credibility. Let's take a look at the first mixed media installation I had here in Dallas. Marfa Total Recall. This was part of the Chill Naughty show that took place at the Cedars Union, where the other graduates and I responded to our visit to Marfa, Texas. The target of subversion in Marfa Total Recall was the unreliable nature of memory.
How'd you find yourself out here in the desert, Matthew? What are you doing out here? Where the sand meets the sky.
I place myself in the film Total Recall and spin my own take on the idea of the perfect vacation. Marfa's vast, barren landscape populated by abstract, minimalist sculptures.
I think they're just making up that word. I'll be right back. Abstract minimalism?
Parallels the broad, red, Martian desert and brutalist architecture of the film. I'm challenging the integrity of my own memory. My mind wanders through observations, recollections, and even criticisms, because I'm also challenging the integrity of art history in terms of Donald Judd and the art that founded Marfa. Massive metal or concrete structures that physically will last for ages, but over time, the ideas behind them can warp. When conceiving the physical installation for the Cedars Union, I wanted to reflect all of those concepts. The video itself was projected on a massive scale. The sound was swallowed in this cavernous space and muddled with the voices of everyone present. A repurposed scaffold became my projection house, like a makeshift campsite drive-in. The projector was ratchet-strapped to the scaffold, a parachute hammock hung inside, a single string of lights and a bright yellow extension cord wrapped around the top like a halo. Tattered, just barely holding it together, ephemeral, a monument to memory. Marfa Total Recall and Makeup Chair also introduce another integral part of my practice: collaboration. Collaborating with other creative people is a deeply familiar practice to me. Even in my earliest years, theater is collaborative, music is collaborative, an improv troupe is collaborative. Collaboration in the arts, it offers many of the same benefits. Fundamentally, I'm not sure that grand ideas can happen in just one mind. In January of the new year, I took part in
LOCII plus O at EXOVO.
lots of cameras, cords, inputs, and outputs. I think I got that right. The event was held at XOVO. It was a multifaceted mixed media marathon. There were 6 artists, 4 really wonderfully awful films, and it ran for 12 hours. My contribution to this melee was an endurance performance. Not quite as masochistic as, say, Chris Burden, but the fun, frenetic kind of chaos you'd see with Mr. Let's Paint TV. And for everyone playing along at home, that's 2 artist references. It was an extended, interactive, improvisational performance. I held domain over an 8x8 square foot green screen stage built in the center of the gallery. With so much time and space at my disposal, I was able to push my improvisational theory. Sometimes engage with the film, sometimes engage with the audience, acting out the text, acting with the text. I could become characters, I could add characters, and with the props and costumes, I was really in a playground. Now, layering myself within a movie is something that I've done a lot this year with Marfa Total Recall and the Action Acting in Action seminar.
Find them, or I'll find you. Deliver to me, are you interested?
Are you interested?
Yeah.
LOCCI plus O builds on those foundations, but raises the stakes exponentially by introducing 5 other artists and their input on the media, a marathon timeline with films back to back to back, and a live audience. Even with the work I produce alone, I utilize social media as a way to collaborate with an audience or an individual. Make It Special is a how-to satire that introduces Matt Maker, befuddled and unsure, but eager and persistent. Maker is set up as a lonely fella who's got his hobbies, and he wants to share them, but he is so focused on getting his presentation right that he hasn't paused to consider what he is actually trying to teach. Make It Special I produced alone in my studio, and it lives on my YouTube channel, so the public can interact with it, and a few viewers who were keen to its sense of humor contributed comments. Now, the comments are sincere complaints from made-up individuals, and these folks aren't prompted. They take it upon themselves, and now there's a communication between characters. And that kind of organically grown collaboration, I think, is a unique benefit to utilizing social media platforms. We can manufacture reality at the consumer level. I invented a character, and then someone else made up a character in order to comment. The anonymous nature of the internet at least allows for the possibility that it's all real. And the internet is open source. It's free to everyone. The idea to incorporate the internet into my work was really born from necessity. I had made work. I wanted to put that work in front of eyes, and I didn't necessarily want to deal with a gatekeeper. In this scenario, we're playing with value. It subverts the notion of value. Can likes equal artistic credibility? Does popularity subtract from artistic merit? As we move today into an uncertain future, space's premium on attention is shrinking. And the idea that a good portion of our life will be lived online doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. But I don't fret over uncertainty because of yet another tenet of my practice, adaptability. Do what you can with what you got, just like MacGyver. I came to the significance of adaptability through improvisational theory. That's the bedrock of my practice. Improv. It's the reason when YouTube won't allow me to upload Marfa Total Recall because of possible copyright infringement, I can pivot and find an outlet through Pornhub. Adaptability. It's the reason that Value and Make It Special were shot on a bunch of discarded iPhones. Improv. And now, in the midst of quarantine, without regular access to my studio, improvisation is what has allowed me to continue to make. And I have been making friends. Let's say hi to the gang. First up, we have Val, the original. Next, we got K. And this is B. And this is L. If you'd like to learn more about the Alphabet Gang, head on over to Instagram at Naked Headless. These figures are all part of an ongoing series that is sort of an evolution of Make It Special called Make It Friends. The figures are all assembled from various cartons and containers that I have accumulated over quarantine. Building from found objects is improv. Currently, it's still being workshopped. I'm writing a narrative outline. I wanted to focus on a concept. Something that I recognized as relevant to me, but also saw enough pattern in pop culture to realize its relevance to us. Make It Friends picks up with Maker producing another how-to video, but the narrative derails. What? Did you say something? Maker snaps, he has a breakdown, and we spend some time exploring madness in the context of isolation.
How did it come to this? I thought I knew what it was.
Apart from my own experiences, I've been committed. The only point of reference I have on that particular kind of crazy is from contemporary films. Picture Castaway meets Sesame Street. But before things get all Lord of the Flies, we hug it out. Originally, I was reflecting on my move here to Dallas, being new to a city, not knowing a lot of people, working in seclusion somewhat. I was amused by that notion of talking to yourself and how it can be associated with both creativity and madness. And now that so many people find themselves in a similar situation of seclusion, the work seems prescient. Opinion disclaimer. It's this compulsion that we have to communicate, and that it's creativity and imagination that fills that gap if communication is absent. Make It Friends is an over-the-top satirical exploration in isolation and reality building. But all the other elements are there. Improv, subversion, layered reality, questionable credibility, and collaboration. The great pillars of my artistic process, propping up my grand design. The same pillars you find in Rambo, Action, Acting in Action Seminar, and in Locio, and in Marfa Total Recall. Guys, the themes are emerging. The year I've spent at SMU has allowed for a tremendous amount of growth and comprehension, and I am grateful for the support and insight of the entire faculty. I have to steal a brief moment to acknowledge Professor Johnson and her fall seminar class. The text she assembled for that course are the ideas and vocabulary that I am using today. Currently, the future is uncertain. I had 2 projects assisting the sculptor Megan Mossholder this summer that have been indefinitely postponed. While I'm home, I will finish editing, Make It Friends, and begin shooting episode 3. I've been experimenting with puppetry and video layering techniques where I can be several Matthews at once. Before quarantine, I had planned to shoot another Dr. Reverend Pavement installment as well. A collaboration with Brandon and his beautiful ranch water fountain as the centerpiece of my set. So I have things to look forward to. Thank you to everyone again for your patience and attention. I very much look forward to your insight and conversation.
So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!"